I am Kenneth. Holy fucking shit. Oi oi, how's it going? I am in a fucking terrible mood because I spent hours upon hours upon hours on putting this fucking light up just for it to tell me to piss off because it doesn't connect to my Wi-Fi properly. Fuck you, Elgato. Anyway, we're talking about Yandere Simulator today because I don't really know why. I just felt like I needed to bag on a game. And this one really takes the cake because the more I read about this game, and because I played it during release with, you know, when it started to really kind of blow up, when, you know, PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, all those big name YouTubers were playing it. So I decided to give it a go too. And it was a good tech demo to begin with, but holy shit, we are fucking yonks into its development, and it still isn't a full game.
Yeah, but after 12 fucking years, it should be.
No, is that between like Mary-Kate and Ashley from years ago? Oh god.
So if you didn't know what Yandere Simulator is, it's a crazed a teenage girl ooh-ooing over her senpai.
She's acting strange.
Mama, I come to bargain.
I can't believe those words just came out of my mouth. And the game to begin with mainly took place in the high school that you go to. That's the word I was looking for. And the main game takes place in the high school that you go to until, you know, a couple of years later where you kind of got out of the high school and you had a home that you could go to. And then yeah, I think that's pretty much it. You can only go to those two locations. And you, the player, have the freedom to do as you please. Meet fellow kids, oogle over senpai. But the main goal is to pretty much murder every girl in that high school that even breathes in senpai's direction. Stab them with a screwdriver, slit their throat with a katana, or throw them off a fucking building. The game first got my attention around mid-2012-ish. Like I said, mostly through YouTubers like Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, Markiplier, or any Let's Player around that time. Fuck! And to start off with, the build that I was playing was okay, I guess. A lot of the assets were absent, you know, like missing textures, empty rooms, minimal NPCs, and in the beginning, all of which looked identical to each other. It was safe to say that a lot of work would have to be put in to make this game a game, but nonetheless it seemed like it was in an upwards trajectory. The popularity for this game pretty much grew instantaneously, and people were really behind the potential that the game had to offer. But you read the title of this video, so you know there is a sneaky little plot twist coming up. Because spoiler alert, this game crashes and fucking burns. And that is all thanks to one person. Or at least that's what Yandere Dev wants you to believe. Because this Squidward looking pleb, he actually looks a bit like Barnacle Boy, so take your pick, single-handedly alienated all of the people that were all for this game. And this was due to his poor management skills and terrible mindset towards his fans. And also his stubbornness, which prevented him from hiring new creative minds, which can not only, you know, put in their 2 cents about the artistic vision, it could also help get the fucking game out quicker. But hey, that's stupid talk if you're talking to Yandere Dev. The game in its early stages, like I said, had an upwards trajectory. The game became more flushed out with characters beginning to have some variety in not only their look, but their personality as well. Each girl in the school had a name and different tendencies, which provided more thought into how to go about eliminating them. The location became more detailed with the inclusion of different textures and assets to help fill the empty spaces. And the gameplay also showed improvements, with new features implemented to help spice up the gameplay, and to stay away from stab animation, find new victim, stab animation, and rinse and repeat type gameplay. With new weapons and environmental kills to prevent the game from being dull and forgettable. And as a result, Yandere Simulator's fanbase grew, and we're pleased with how the game was shaping out to be. Months passed and the game stayed stagnant, with only one noticeable feature being included within roughly a 6-month period. That being the inclusion of your empty home, and the bike ride from school to home and home to school. And for a guy who stated he was going to spend all of his time devoting to improving this game, 6 months to grab assets off the Unity store and to put them in your game is quite piss poor.
Video games and watch anime again. Nobody could call me lazy anymore. All of my problems would be...
Shut the fuck up, I will fucking laser you with alien fucking eyes and explode your fuck.
And it was at this exact moment where cracks started to begin to show. Fans of the game started to ask questions about the game's development, with some fans even giving Yandere Dev advice, bug reports, and even offering to lend a hand to help get this game out the door. And Yandere Dev responded in the cool, calm, collected manner, showing appreciation and gratitude to those who reached out. I'm joking, of course. He complained about the overabundance of emails that he was getting from fans were stupid questions and not helping him at all.
When you send me a stupid email, you are actively sabotaging the game's development. If you want this game to come out faster, you should not email me unless it's absolutely necessary.
He stated, instead of emailing me questions, you should email me solutions instead.
You've come up with an idea for how to solve my problems, and you want to email me about it. Please, don't do that. If the solution seems obvious to you, that means that it's already occurred to me. And if I haven't already put that solution into action, then obviously there's a problem with that solution.
He also stated that he reads every single email that you send him, receiving literal thousands of emails every day.
Every single day. Depending on how much email I get, sometimes I spend between 8 and 12 hours going through my email.
Which I call bullshit, champ. And he saw people who emailed him in regards to reporting bugs as nuisances, instead of fans helping to help improve the game.
For some volunteers to be obstacles. Every day, dozens of people, honestly, dozens, contact me and volunteer to contribute to the game.
And personally, I would have let this all slide if, you did this as a frustration tweet. But he actually doubled down and made a YouTube series consistently complaining about the game's development and how constant delays were the results of fans of the game asking him stupid questions. If you haven't caught on yet, Yandere Dev isn't really a social butterfly, not understanding social norms with his shitty narcissistic attitude. So let's quickly talk about him for a second. From the get-go, Yandere Dev wasn't really a fan of criticism. He saw them more of attacks, so much so that he was prone to responding to every negative comment and just flat out insulting them because they didn't suck him off with praise. And it's a habit that he never really broke. When fans called him out on his behaviour, he would just justify his comments, which were absolute dogshit justifications, before ending his defense with the jab to the person who called him out because they didn't think the way he does. And for that, they're idiots who know nothing. He's definitely a guy who has the mindset that thinks he's always right, no matter how many times you tell him he's wrong. Despite Yandere Dev's reputation slowly dwindling, fans still tried to back him whenever they could because they just wanted the game to be finished. But this just filled his filthy little ego. A couple of minutes ago, I said that fans helped out to try and finish the game for free because they just wanted to make the product the best it could be. And that was a huge mistake on their part. When things were starting to fall apart for Yandere Dev, a lot more people spoke out about how much of a piece of shit he was. Many artists voiced how he would try to lock them into contracts that stated he owns all of the work you do for him with no recognition or pay. Other creators said they didn't receive a contract and were given Yandere Dev's word that he would give them recognition to said artist, and he never did. And he would rather fight about it with them than to shout them out on Twitter. Hey man, fuck you. For people who weren't as invested in this drama that was slowly growing, these were just passing allegations, and no one really came forward with proof. So for the most part, Yandere Dev was still relatively liked, or at least his game was. That is until he was further questioned on the progress of the game, and responded in the worst way possible. He made another Yandere Simulator game update on his YouTube channel, and in this video he further blamed the fans for delaying the game's progress. Then he blamed how he wants to maintain full control of his game and it would be too much effort to bring in a team to correct all his mishaps coding wise, saying he's not good at code. And instead of bringing someone in the early stage that would build the code right away, he would rather just do it all his way and fuck up the code even more, on some Aliens Colonial Marines shit. He also blamed the lack of financial support from the game's fans, saying that thousands of dollars he's making from Kickstarter wasn't enough to bring in a team to help out. Like, come on man, you had freelancers that were willing to work for free with the exception of a shout out. And you couldn't even do that, you slimy little virgin. I'm so curious on where this money went, because it wasn't to the artist who helped you with the art style, because you gave them absolutely nothing. It wasn't to the assets used, because the assets used were allegedly stolen, or you used free textures. So my best guess is that you spent your not hard-earned money on a nice body pillow that you could snuggle up to at night. He then very briefly goes over some suggestions, like presenting the work-in-progress game to an indie game studio that can help aid him throughout development. But like before, he bitches and moans that the companies are evil. He actually said that. And that will ruin his vision for the game, and he brushes over that really quickly. The more backlash this human squid hybrid got, the more the game got delayed. And instead of ignoring the haters and work on the game, he would rather respond to everyone who had anything negative to say about him. And soon enough, he began to alienate his dedicated fanbase with excuses and lashing out on people who didn't praise him. The more and more this went on, the less people cared about the game. And when that happened, he did the only thing he could do. He made another YouTube video about it. Oh, you thought I was going to say finish the game. Yeah, no. He spent countless days and nights working on his magnum opus, and as a result, he took the game to an indie studio to help fund him. Bro, are you fucking for real? You just said companies were bad in your last video, and now you've done a full 180?
I portrayed companies as evil, greedy entities that would steal money from me, take full possession of Yandere Simulator, and censor the game. It was a bad idea to portray companies like this.
Can someone help this man find his backbone, because he's weak as shit? So now that I've given you the full history of this clusterfuck of a game's progress, where are we now? Well, since the alpha build of Yandere Simulator, it has been 12 years in the making, and after playing the current build, I can say with confidence that little has improved since I first came across it. You can kill the schoolgirls in a larger variety of ways, the schools are a little more detailed, which is the most bland and predictable story, which looking back at hindsight is barely a story. And if my memory serves me correctly, this game is still in development. Mr. Dev, I think it's time for you to give it up. You had a game that had so much potential and so many backers behind it, and it just turned into dog shit due to your shitty attitude. So my words of wisdom to you, Mr. Dev, are probably give it up, Chief. Maybe go outside and try talking to people instead. So yeah, that is my insanely bland review of Yandere Simulator. More so Yandere Dev, because the game didn't have much to offer and still doesn't. It was more so the story behind the game that is more interesting than the game itself. If you enjoyed this video, try hitting the subscribe button. I have a couple more videos on not only video games, but also a couple movies there as well. And I don't know, you like wrestling? I've done 2 wrestling vids. That's pretty cool. Just saying. Alright, that's it. Hope you enjoyed. Enjoy the rest of your day. Laters.
Don't hurt me!
If I can't have you,